The stars burned cold above the crown. World of Elethar Prime, once this planet had been the shining heart of an empire that stretched across 1,000 systems. Crystal spires rose from green oceans like frozen lightning. Ships with wings of light danced between the moons. The Elethari people lived long lives, filled with music, thought-sharing, and gentle rule, but that time was gone now. The sky was full of fire. The Dominion had come like a storm of black metal and hunger. Their ships were not beautiful. They were ugly, thick, covered in spikes, and mouths that spat acid. They did not talk or bargain. They only consumed. In less than one cycle of the moons, they had broken every defense line. The Elethari fleets were broken pieces, floating in space. The last armies on the ground were dying in silence. On the bridge of the royal flagship Dawns, Grace Princess Lureth stood alone. Her silver skin glowed faintly in the red emergency lights. Long white hair floated around her shoulders because the gravity was failing. Her eyes bright violet. Watch the main screen. It showed her home world below, cities that once sang with light now burned. Smoke rose in thick black columns from the crystal forest. She could feel the pain of her people through the faint psychic link that Alari shared. It was like 1,000 knives in her chest. Her guards were dead. Their bodies lay near the broken doors, blades still in their hands. They had fought until the end. Now only she remained. The had boarded the ship minutes ago. She could hear their claws scraping metal in the corridors. Soon they would reach the bridge. They would take her alive if they could. They liked to display captured nobles in cages on their hive ships. She would not allow that. Lureth raised her right hand. A thin crystal blade appeared from the bracer on her wrist. It hummed with soft blue light. This was the last gift of her mother, the old queen. It could cut through steel and mind alike. She would use it on herself before the enemy touched her. Death with honor was better than chains. She opened a channel to the last open frequency. Her voice was calm even though her heart beat fast. This is Princess Lureth of Elir. Our worlds fall, our people die, but we do not bow. If any free beings hear this, remember us. Remember that we stood until the last breath. May the stars keep your paths clear. She closed her eyes for a moment. The message would travel outward on emergency repeat until the ship died. Maybe someone would hear it, maybe no one would. It did not matter. She had said what needed to be said. She lifted the blade to her throat. The tip touched skin. A small drop of silver blood appeared. Then the ship shook hard. Alarm screamed. Something new had hit them. Not a weapon. This was different. Human. Far below on the surface, in the ruins of a fallen tower, Ethan Brooks crouched behind a broken wall. He wore heavy gray armor marked with the blue circle of the United Terran Coalition. Dirt and ash covered his face. His dark hair was cut short. His brown eyes watched the sky without blinking. Next to him was Laura Hayes. She was smaller with short red hair and sharp green eyes. She held a sniper rifle across her knees. Both of them were part of a small scout team sent to this system months ago. Their orders were simple: watch, report, do not engage. Earth was new to this part of the galaxy. The Aleth were old and proud. There were monsters everyone feared. Humans were told to stay out of other people's wars, but Ethan had never been good at following rules. When people were dying, he listened to the princess's message through his helmet. Radio, the words came through a rough translation program. Even so, he understood the meaning. She was saying, "Goodbye." Laura looked at him. "Ethan." "Don't." He did not answer right away. He kept watching the burning flagship in the sky. It was falling slowly, trailing fire and pieces of hull. "She's going to kill herself," he said quietly. Laura sighed. "We can't stop that. We have no backup, no fleet, just us in one old drop ship." Ethan stood up. He checked the charge on his rail rifle. It was full. He patted the grenades on his belt. "I know," he said. Laura grabbed his arm. "Command said observe only. If they see us, they come for Earth next." Ethan looked down at her. His face was calm, but his eyes were hard. "I've seen people die before," he said. "On colony worlds. On ships watch from a safe place. While good folks burned. I'm tired of watching." Laura let go of his arm. She knew that look. She had seen it before. Battles that should have killed them both. "You're going up there," she said. It was not a question. "Yeah." She stood up too. "Then I'm coming with you." "No." Ethan shook his head. "Someone has to stay. If I don't come back, you get the data home. Tell them what happened here. Tell them they don't stop." Laura opened her mouth to argue, then closed it. She knew he was right. "Be fast," she said. "And don't die." Ethan gave her a small smile. "I'll try." He ran toward the landing zone where their drop ship waited. It was old, patched in many places, but the engine still worked. He climbed inside, sealed the hatch, and started the launch sequence. The dropship lifted off in a cloud of dust. It climbed fast through the smoke. The sky turned from orange to black. Stars appeared. The burning flagship grew larger in the front window. Ethan locked the controls on a collision course with one of the big hull breaches. He checked his suit seals one last time. Oxygen good, ammo good, heartbeat steady. He spoke into the comm. "Laura, if you hear this, tell my sister I love her, and tell Command I'm sorry for not following orders." He cut the link. The dropship hit the flagship like a hammer. Metal screamed. Sparks flew. Ethan was thrown forward, but the hardest held him. The pod detached automatically. He crashed through the breach into a dark corridor. Alarms wailed inside the ship. Now red lights flashed. Air hissed out of broken pipes. Ethan kicked the pod door open. He stepped out, rifle up. His suit lights cut through the smoke. Warriors were already inside, tall, insect-like, with black armor and too many arms. They turned toward him, mandibles clicking. Ethan did not wait. He fired. The rail rifle made a sharp crack. A slug punched through the first chest plate. It fell without a sound. More came. They moved fast. Ethan moved faster. He ran forward, shooting, ducking behind broken walls, throwing a grenade when they bunched up. Explosion lit the corridor white for a second. Pieces of flew. He did not think about fear. He did not think about odds. He thought only about the message he had heard, a voice saying goodbye. Princess ready to die alone, not today. He told himself. He pushed deeper into the dying ship. Smoke burned his eyes. Even through the helmet filter, blood, his and theirs, smeared the floor. Somewhere ahead, Lurith still stood on the bridge. The blade was still at her throat. She heard the new sounds. Explosions, gunfire, not the clean hum of Illyri weapons, something rougher, angrier. She lowered the blade a little. Her violet eyes narrowed. Who was this stranger fighting in her halls? But for the first time since the war began, something besides death moved in her Heart, curiosity, and maybe, just maybe, a tiny spark of hope. Lureth moved fast, but quiet. Her bare feet made no sound. On the cold metal floor, she held her crystal blade tight, the blue light from it was the only bright thing around her. Her white dress was torn at the side. Silver blood ran down her leg from a cut. She got earlier. She ignored the pain. Pain was nothing now, only the fight mattered. She had left the bridge behind. They were everywhere. She could hear their claws scraping. Their low clicks filled the air like angry insects. She turned the corner and saw 3 of them blocking the way to the main lift. They were tall with black shells and too many legs. Their eyes glowed yellow in the dark. Lureth did not stop. She ran straight at them. Her blade flashed. The first raised a claw to block. The crystal cut clean through it. Green blood sprayed. The creature screamed a high sharp sound. She spun and cut the second one across the chest. It fell back twitching. The third one fired its acid gun. Hot green liquid flew past her head. It burned the wall behind her. She jumped forward. Her blade went into its neck. The Kree dropped. Lureth stood over the bodies, breathing hard. Her hands shook a little. She was tired. Her psychic power was almost gone. She could feel it slipping away like water through fingers. She kept moving. The engineering bay was not far. If she could reach the main reactor, she could set it to explode. One last gift to the she would take their biggest ship with her. Corridor opened into a wide hall. Broken pipes leaked steam. Dead Ilithari lay on the floor. Friends, guards, family. She stepped over them without looking down. Looking would break her. Then she heard it, a new sound. Not claws, not acid. Guns, something loud and sharp. Crack, crack, crack like thunder in a small room. Then a boom that shook the deck. Screams followed. Not Ilthari screams. Craig screams. Lavid stopped. She whisted. The sounds came closer, fast. Footsteps in heavy boots. Metal hitting metal. More cracks, more explosions. She moved to the side behind a fallen support beam. She crouched low. Her blade stayed ready. A greed warrior ran past her hiding spot. It was hurt. One arm gone. Green blood poured from its side. It did not see her. It was running away from something. Then the something appeared. A human. He was big in his gray armor. The armor had dents and black burns. His helmet had a cracked visor, but light still glowed inside. He carried a long gun that smoked at the end. In his other hand was a small round thing, a grenade. The turn to face him, it raised its remaining claws. The human did not slow. He fired once. Gun roared. A metal slug hit the Kree. The head, the shell cracked open. Creature fell like a broken toy. The human kept coming. He stepped over the body without looking. His boots left red and green prints on the floor. Lureth watched. She had heard stories of humans, short lives, no psychic gifts, weak bodies compared to many species. Yet here was one alone, fighting like he was born for it. He stopped for a second. He looked around. His helmet light swept the hall. They passed over her hiding spot. She held her breath. He did not see her, or maybe he did and did not care. He moved on. Lavith followed at a distance. She was curious now. Who was this stranger? Why was he here? The human reached a junction. More waited. 5 this time. They charged him. Together he threw the grenade first. It bounced once, then exploded in their middle. Fire and metal bits flew. 2 Kree went down right away. The other screamed and attacked. The human dropped to one knee. He fired fast, crack. Crack, crack, each shot hit something. Important joint eye neck, one Kree got. Close, the claw hit his shoulder armor. Sparks flew, the armor cracked but held. The human did not fall back, he grabbed. The claw with one hand, he pulled hard. The Kree stumbled, then he drove his fist. Into its face plate, something broke. Green blood sprayed, the creature dropped, the last two came at once. Human rolled under a swinging arm, he came up behind them, he fired point. Blank into their backs, they fell. Forward silence came back, only the ship's dying sounds, creaks, hisses. Distant explosions, the human stood. Straight, he checked his gun, it clicked. Empty, he dropped it and pulled a smaller pistol from his hip. El-Rav stepped out from the shadows, she did not hide anymore. The human turned fast. His pistol came up, he saw her, the gun stayed pointed but he did not shoot. They looked at each other, she was tall. Thin, silver skin shining in the red. Light white hair floating in low gravity, blade in her hand, he was shorter, broad, covered in armor that looked heavy, brown eyes behind the cracked visor, face hard but not angry. Neither spoke at first, then El-Rav said in slow galactic standard, "You are human." He nodded once, "Ethan Brooks. United Terran Coalition, why are you here?" He lowered the pistol a little. "Heard your message, didn't like the ending." She tilted her head, "You came alone for me, for anyone who needed it." He said, "Turns out it was you." Laveth looked at the dead around them, then back at him. "You fight like nothing I have seen. No grace, no thought sharing. Just force." Ethan gave a small, tired smile. "We don't have fancy mind tricks. So we use what we got. Guns, explosives, stubbornness." She felt something strain in her chest, not fear, not hope yet. Something in between. "I go to the reactor," she said, "and me with it." Ethan looked down the corridor, more sounds. "We're coming, more." "Not alone, you don't." She stared at him. "You would die for this, for strangers." He shrugged. "Been dying for strangers my whole life, might as well make it count." Liv looked at her blade, then at him. She turned and started walking toward engineering. Ethan fell in beside her. His boots were loud next to her quiet steps. They moved together now, not friends, not yet, but not enemies. The ship shook again. A big explosion. Somewhere far off, lights flickered, got thinner. Voices echoed ahead, many of them. Ethan checked his last grenade. "How far to the reactor?" "Not far," Lyrith said, "but they guard it now." He nodded. "Good, means we're in the right place." She looked at him sideways. "You are not afraid, just too busy to think about it." They turned the last corner, the engineering bay. Doors were open. Inside, the reactor glowed blue-white. It hummed loud. Around it stood 20 warriors. They turned as one when the two stepped in. Lurath raised her blade. Ethan raised his pistol. The charged. Ethan fired first. The pistol barked. One fell, then another. Laveth moved like wind. Her blade danced. She cut through armor and flesh, silver blood mixed with green. But there were too many. A claw hit her side. She went down hard. Pain exploded in her ribs. Her blade slipped from her fingers. Ethan saw it. He roared loud. Angry sound. He threw himself forward. He tackled the Kree that hit her. They rolled. He punched again and again. Creatures shell cracked. More came for him. He fought like a storm. Kicks, punches. He used his helmet as a battering ram. He grabbed a fallen Creed gun and fired wild. Lureth tried to stand, her vision blurred, blood ran. From her mouth, she saw Ethan. Surrounded, he was bleeding now, armor torn, but he kept fighting. One raised a claw to finish him. Lureth reached out. With her last psychic strength, a thin blue thread of light shot from her hand. It hit the Creek's head. It froze, then fell. Ethan looked back at her. Thanks, she smiled weakly. Do not die. Yet human, he grinned through blood. Not planning to, the reactor hummed. Louder warning lights flashed red. Time was running out. They were both on the floor now, hurt, tired, surrounded, but still alive and still fighting. The engineering bay smelled of burning wires and hot metal. The big reactor in the center glowed bright blue. It made loud, humming noises that hurt the ears. Warning lights flashed red on every wall. The ship was close to breaking apart. Lureth lay on the cold floor. Her side hurt bad where the claw had cut. Her silver blood made a small pool under her. She tried to push herself up, but her arms felt heavy. Her crystal blade lay a few steps away, too far to reach. Ethan stood over her. His armor was cracked in many places. One shoulder plate hung loose. Blood ran from a cut on his forehead and dripped inside his helmet. He held the stolen gun in both hands. It was big and ugly with green acid still dripping from the barrel. He fired short bursts at that tried to get close. 3 more warriors rushed in from the side door. They moved fast on their many legs. Ethan turned. He shot the first one in the chest. The second one jumped high. Ethan dropped low and kicked its legs out. The creature crashed into a pipe. Steam shot out and burned its shell. The third one got close enough to swing a claw. It hit Ethan's arm. The armor cracked more. He grunted in pain but did not fall. He grabbed the claw and twisted hard. Something snapped inside the Krieg's arm. It screamed. Ethan drove the gun barrel into its mouth and pulled the trigger. Green blood sprayed everywhere. The bay went quiet again. Only the reactor hummed. And their heavy breathing. Ethan dropped to one knee next to Elrath. He pulled a small white box from his belt. His medkit. He opened it fast. Inside were bandages, pain shots, and a skin seal. Spray. Hold still, he said. Elrath looked up at him. Her violet eyes were cloudy from pain. You are hurt too. I'll live, he said. You first. He sprayed the seal on her side wound. It hissed and hardened into a clear cover. The bleeding stopped right away. She gasped at the cold feeling. Then he gave her a pain shot in the arm. The medicine worked fast. The sharp pain turned dull. She sat up slowly. Thank you, Ethan nodded. He looked around. Dead Creek. Bodies lay everywhere. More would come. Soon the ship shook again. A loud creak came from above. Part of the ceiling bent inward. We need to move, he said. Reactor controls. Laveth pointed to a raised platform near the glowing core. There, but the overload sequence needs my code and time. How much time? 5 minutes, maybe less, before the ship breaks. Ethan stood. He helped her up. She was taller than him but weak now. She leaned on his shoulder. They walked together toward the platform. Every step hurt them both. At the controls, Lureth put her hand on the smooth crystal panel. It lit up under her touch. Blue lines appeared. She started typing fast with her fingers. Symbols Ethan did not understand moved across the screen. Ethan kept watch. He reloaded the Kree gun with the last clip he found on a dead body. His own pistol was empty. He had one grenade left. While she worked, Lavit spoke quietly. Why do you do this? Your people know nothing of us. We are old, you are new. This war is not yours. Ethan leaned against the railing. He wiped blood from his eye. Doesn't matter, I heard your voice. You were ready to die alone. I know what that's like. Lost friends that way. Watched from far off, felt useless, not doing that again. She looked at him. Humans are strange. You live short lives, no long thoughts, no mind links, yet you fight for others you never met. He gave a small laugh. It sounded tired. We don't live long, so we try to make it mean something. If I can save one person, even an alien princess, maybe that's enough. The screen beeped. Laveth frowned. The changed codes when they boarded. Can you break it? I can try, but it will take longer. A new sound came. Heavy footsteps, many of them from 2 doors now. Ethan moved in front of her. Work fast, I'll buy time. He took position behind a thick pipe. The creed came in waves, 10 at first, then more. They did not rush blind. They learned. They used cover. They fired acid shots that melted metal where they hit. Ethan fired back short bursts. He aimed for heads and joys. One creepy out. He shot it clean. Another tried to flank. He threw his last grenade. It bounced and exploded near a group. Fire filled the air. 3 burned and screamed, but they kept coming. Elrav typed faster. Sweat ran down her silver face. The pain shot was wearing off. Her fingers shook. Ethan's gun clicked empty. He dropped it. He pulled a combat knife from his boot, big, sharp, with a serrated edge. A Cree charged him straight. No gun, just claws. Ethan met it head on. He ducked the first swing. He cut deep into its leg. It stumbled. He jumped on its back and drove the knife into the soft spot behind its head. It dropped. Another one grabbed him from behind. Strong arms squeezed his chest. Armor cracked loud. Ethan felt ribs move wrong. Pain shot through him. He head-butted backward. His helmet hit the Creek's face. It let go little. He twisted free and stabbed upward under its chin. He fell to the floor, breathing hard, blood in his mouth now. Laveth looked over. Ethan, I'm good, he lied. More filled the bay. 20 now. They circled slow. They knew the 2 were trapped. Lureth finished the last code. The screen flashed green. Countdown started. 5 minutes. She turned to Ethan. It is done. The reactor will explode. We must leave. Ethan stood slow. He heard everywhere. Escape pod down the hall. One left. They started moving. They attacked again. Ethan fought like a cornered animal. He used his knife, his fists, even his broken helmet. As a club he took hits. Claws cut his legs. Acid burned his arm, but he kept going forward. He pushed Lurath ahead of him. She used her last strength. A weak psychic push knocked 2 back. It gave them seconds. They reached the hall. Escape pod door was open. Small, round, built for 2. Ethan shoved her inside. First she fell into the seat. He climbed in after. He hit the close button. The door sealed with a hiss. Outside banged on the hall. Claws scraped. Ethan looked at the controls. Simple, even he could read them. Launch. Eject, go. He pressed launch. The pod shot out. Small rockets fired. The ship grew small behind them. Fast. Inside the pod they sat close, both breathing hard, both bleeding. Her voice was soft. You could have run, left me. Didn't want to, he said. She reached out. Her hand touched his armored glove. A faint blue light passed between them. Not strong, just a touch of her mind too. His. She felt it then. His thoughts not Clear words, feelings, anger at death. Sadness for lost friends, stubborn fire. That said not yet, and something. Warm, something that said he would do it. Again, Ethan felt her too. A wave of tiredness, deep grief for her world, but also surprise and a small growing respect. The pod spun slow. Stars moved past the small window. Behind them the dawns. Grace glowed brighter, then it bloomed into white fire. The explosion was silent in space, but the light filled the pod for a second. The shock wave pushed them farther. Elrath leaned back. It is over. Ethan shook his head. Not yet. Ship's still out there. We need pick up. He opened a comm channel. Laura. This is Ethan. You still listening? Static, then her voice. Ethan, stars. You're alive. Where are you? Escape pod. Got company. One Illyri princess need extraction. Laura laughed short and relieved. On our way. Hold tight, Ethan. Looked at Elrath. Help's coming. She nodded slow. Your friend Laura. Yeah. She's good people. Elrath closed her eyes. I thought my story ended today. You changed it. Ethan leaned his head back against the seat. Stories don't end easy, not when humans get involved. Pod drifted quiet. Two hurt warriors from different worlds, side by side, waiting for rescue, waiting for whatever came next. The escape pod drifted through black space. Small red lights blinked inside. The air smelled of blood and burnt plastic. Lureth sat in one seat. Her silver skin looked pale under the dim glow. Ethan sat across from her. His armor was in pieces now. One arm hung limp. Blood soaked his undersuit. Both of them breathed slow and shallow. Outside the small window, pieces of the dawn's grace floated past, twisted metal, broken crystal. The big explosion had torn the ship apart. Some ships burned too. Others turned away, damaged and confused. The blast had bought time. Not victory, just time. Ethan checked the comm again. Laura, how close? Her voice came back fast. 2 minutes. Hang on. We see your beacon. He looked at Lureth. You okay? She nodded. Weak. Pain medicine helps, but my strength is gone. My people, I felt them fade when the ship died. Ethan did not know what to say. He had lost people too, so he just said, I'm sorry. She looked at him. You gave me more time than I expected. That is enough for now. Pod shook. Something hit the hull. Not hard, just a bump. Ethan looked out. Small creek. Scout ship was close. It fired again. Another bump. The pod spun slow. They're not done, Ethan said. Elrath tried to stand. She fell back. We cannot fight more. Ethan pushed himself up. Every move hurt. He opened a small locker in the pod wall. Inside was an emergency kit, a short pulse rifle, one clip, a repair torch. He took the rifle. Stay down, he told her. He moved to the tiny airlock door. The pod had no real weapons, but it had thrusters. He could use them. The creek scout came closer. It was small, fast. It wanted to capture the pod or destroy it. Ethan opened a side panel. He found the manual thruster controls. He waited. The scout ship lined up for another shot. Ethan hit the side thrusters hard. The pod spun fast. It bumped the scout ship. Metal scraped metal. The scout lost balance. Ethan opened the airlock. Outer door just a crack. Vacuum pulled at him. He held tight. He aimed the pulse rifle out. He fired the whole clip. Blue bolts hit the scout's engine. Sparks flew. The small ship twisted away, leaking fire. It did not explode, but it stopped shooting. Ethan closed the door. He fell back inside. His lungs burned from the thin air. Elrath looked at him. You are crazy, he laughed short. It hurt his ribs. Humans get called that a lot. A new light appeared outside. Bigger ship, human design, the Terran. Scout vessel, Laura's ship. It matched. Speed, a docking tube extended. It locked on the pod with a clunk. Hatch opened. Laura Hayes stepped in. First, she wore light armor. Her red hair stuck out under her helmet. She carried a med bag. Ethan, she ran to him. You look like hell. Feel like it too, he said. She looked past him, saw Lureth. Her eyes went wide for a second. Then she nodded. Princess, welcome aboard. Lureth tried to stand again. Laura helped her. Easy, we have a medbay. They moved slow. Ethan limped behind. Every step felt like knives in his legs. Inside the scout ship, the halls were clean and bright. White walls, soft lights, different from the dying flagship. A few human crew members stared as they passed. They had never seen an Elari up close. In the medbay, 2 beds waited. Doctors in white coats moved fast. They helped Lureth lie down. First, machines beeped. They put sensors on her skin. A soft blue light scanned her wounds. Ethan sat on the other bed. A doctor cut away his broken armor. Blood soaked through. The doctor worked. Quick, clean cuts, gave shots, wrapped ribs. Laura stood between the beds. What happened up there? Ethan told her short. The boarding, the fight, the reactor, the escape. Laura looked at Lurevith. You two did that alone. Lurevith spoke soft. He did most of it. I only gave the code. Laura shook her head. Command is going to lose their minds. We were supposed to stay quiet. Ethan shrugged. They can yell later. The ship jumped a small warp away from the battle zone. Safe for now. Laravith turned her head to Ethan. Your people, they will help. Mine. Ethan looked at Laura. She answered, we don't have a big fleet here, but we have friends, other humans. Other ships will send word. Earth will listen. Laravith closed her eyes. My empire is broken. Many are dead, but some ships escaped. Some people live. If your people stand with us. Ethan reached over. He took her hand. No armor now. Just skin on skin. We stand not because we're strong, because it's right. Faint blue light passed between their fingers again. Her mind touched his. This time stronger. She showed him flashes, crystal cities, laughing children, songs under stars, then fire, loss, and now a small hope. He showed her back, rough images, earth, deserts, ocean, storms, cities built from nothing, people who fell and got up again, friends lost in wars, and the quiet choice to help. Anyway, she smiled. Small, you are not what I thought humans were. He smiled back. You're not what I thought princesses were. Laura watched them. She smiled too. Rest, both of you. We have a long way home. The lights dimmed in the medbay. Machines hummed soft. Ethan lay back. Pain still there, but quieter now. Lavith looked at the ceiling. I was ready to die today alone. With honor, but you came, you fought. You carried me out. Ethan stared at the same ceiling. If it meant you didn't have to. Silence came, comfortable silence. Then she said, thank you. Ethan Brooks. He turned his head. Any time, Elrath. Outside, stars moved slow. The scout ship flew toward a jump point, toward safety, toward new beginnings that would come. Again, they always did, but now they faced something new, not just an old empire, not just psychic blades and crystal ships. They faced humans who did not run, humans who did not wait for orders, humans who saw someone in trouble and said, not today, and won. human warrior who jumped into hell for a princess he never knew. The galaxy would remember that. Lurith felt her eyes grow. Heavy sleep pulled at her. Ethan watched her a moment longer, then he closed his eyes too, both of them. Slept hurt, tired, alive and together. Stars stretched into lines, a new path opened, one that started with a single choice, one human hand reaching out. When death came close, the scout ship flew quiet through the dark between stars, its engines hummed soft. Inside the medbay, light stayed low so hurt people could rest. Ethan Brooks lay on his bed, bandages covered most of his body, his ribs were taped tight, his left arm hung in a sling. He stared at the ceiling and thought about nothing. Just breathing felt good. Next bed over, Elraveth slept deep. Machines watched her heart and lungs. Her silver skin looked brighter now. The doctors had fixed what they could. Her wounds closed, her strength came back. Slow, she dreamed of green oceans and crystal towers that still stood. In they dream no fire came. Hours passed, maybe days. Time felt strange after so much fighting. Laura Hayes came in often. She brought food trays, simple things, warm soup, bread, water. She sat between the beds and talked low. Command got your report, she told Ethan one time. They yelled a lot at first, then they got quiet. Now they're sending more ships. Not just ours, allies too. Word spreads fast when a flagship blows up and saves lives. Ethan nodded slow. Good. Laura looked at Lurath. She's important to them, the last royal. If she lives, some Alethari will keep fighting. If she dies, she won't. Ethan said. Laura smiled small. I know. Lurath woke later that shift. Her violet eyes opened slow. She saw Ethan watching her. You are still here, she said. Where else? He answered. She sat up careful. The bed moved with her. I feel stronger. Doctors say you're tough. He said. Tougher than you look. She touched the bandage on her side. You saved me twice now, once on the ship, once by bringing me here. Ethan shrugged with his good shoulder. Team effort. She looked around the small room. White walls, human machines, no crystal, no light songs, yet it felt safe. Tell me about your world, she said. Earth. Ethan thought for a moment. It's loud, messy. Lots of people, some places beautiful. Oceans, mountains, some places hard. Deserts, storms, we fight each other. Sometimes, but we build too. Cities, ships. We reach for stars because staying home felt too small. Lavith listened. My people stayed home a long time. We thought we were safe. We thought grace and mind power were enough. Then the Kree came. They did not care about grace. Ethan nodded. Seen that before. Enemies who only want to take. You either fight or disappear. She looked at her hands. I was taught to die with honor if needed. You taught me something else. What? To live with purpose even when everything falls. He met her eyes. That's all we got. Sometimes purpose in people who won't let you quit. Silence came again. Comfortable. Laura walked in with a tablet. News. Alethari survivors are gathering at a hidden moon base. 3 ships made it, small but alive. They're asking for you, princess. Elraveth sat straighter. I must go to them. Ethan looked at Laura. Can we? Laura nodded. Ships ready. Jump in 1 hour. Command approved. Escort. We're not alone anymore. The scout ship jumped. Smooth. Stars stretched, then snapped back. A small moon appeared ahead, gray and quiet, hidden in a dust cloud. Docking took time. Airlocks hissed. Doors opened. Lavith walked out first. Slow steps, Ethan by her side. Laura behind with 2 guards. Inside the base Elithari waited, tall silver. White hair, some hurt, some crying. Quiet when they saw Lureth, a sound. Rose not loud, soft like wind through. Crystal Hope, an old Elithari stepped. Forward, his robes torn. Princess, we thought you gone, I almost was, she said. This human brought me back, all. Eyes turned to Ethan, he stood straight. No helmet now, just a tired face. Sling. The old one bowed low. We owe you a debt. Ethan shook his head. No debt. Just did what needed doing. Laveth spoke. Louder so all could hear. This man fought alone in our halls. He stood when I could not. He carried me to safety. He refused to let death win. Humans are new to our stars, but they carry a fire we forgot, a fire that says no one dies alone if help can reach. The Elithari listened, some nodded, some touched hands to hearts. One young one asked, will your people stand with us? Ethan answered before Lureth could. Earth already said yes. More ships coming. More people. We don't promise easy, but we promise we won't run. The room filled with soft light. Elari minds linked. Wave of warmth passed. Ethan felt it. 2, not words, feelings, thanks, trust. A new beginning. Days passed on the moon base. Ethan healed slow. He walked halls. With Lureth, they talked about stars. About what came next. One evening they stood outside under a clear dome. Stars bright above, no creek ships near, safe. For now. Laveth looked up. My mother told me the stars sing if you listen. I stopped hearing them when the war started. Ethan listened too. Maybe they sing different now. She turned to him. Because of you, because of us, he said. You fought too. You chose to live. She reached out. Her hand found his. No glow. This time just touch. Warm skin on warm skin. I will rebuild, she said. Not the old empire, something new. With help. With friends who see worth in the broken. Ethan squeezed her hand. Count me in. Far off, human ships arrived, big ones armed, ready. Flags of Earth flew beside crystal banners of Elithar. The galaxy watched old powers, new ones. The waited in shadows, but they waited. Different now, they knew a new name. Humans in one story spread quiet, of a princess facing death, of a warrior who jumped in without question, of 2 hands that reached across stars, not because they had to, because they chose to. Lureth looked at Ethan. What happens next? He smiled, tired but real. We keep going, one fight at a time, one day at a time. She nodded. Together the stars kept shining, quiet, steady, and somewhere in the dark a small spark grew brighter, a spark called hope. Spark carried by humans and shared with those who needed it most. The end came. Not with fire, but with 2 people standing side by side, looking at